are fighting the Japanese for the Netherlands Indies. For 3,000 islands, the area for which they fight is, to most of us, surprisingly large. But it is more impressive as a setting for an idea, which is also bigger than most people think. The East Indies are blessed by nature. Their land is rich and yields abundant crops many times each year. The most coveted luxuries of life grow here in commonplace profusion. The tea of Java was once served to a third of the world. The staples of life are here too. Rice, to a majority of the peoples of this world, is another word for food. The sawas, or wet rice fields of these islands, can supply strength and nourishment to millions. In modern times, the discoveries of the Dutch agricultural scientists help to increase the yield obtained by the traditional methods. For tradition is strong in these people. Traditions that the Portuguese and French and Dutch explorers called savage when they first came upon the islands in the 15th century. But the Dutch have learned better since those days. They have learned to appreciate the sensitivity and culture of a people who are different from themselves. They have realized that these are highly civilized peoples. People whose culture is deep-rooted and coordinated through their habits of daily life. The beautiful batiks that are worn by the ceremonial dancers are also worn by the audience. They are local products made possible by a dyeing process known here hundreds of years before it was used by Europeans. They connected with religious forms that are even older. The flowers that are prepared so carefully are not for the dining room table, but for the temple altars. They were once part of a ceremony that has long since been erased from the minds of men. But while new religions have come in a rhythm set by various invasions from the mainland, the symbolism of the flowers became part of the people, and today is still an expression of their devotion. For the Indonesian is still living his tradition. His mythical heroes still inspire him to strength and spiritual dignity. Still lives in the shadow of fabulous monuments, architectural masterpieces like the temples to Buddha in Java and Bali. The devils of the Bayang dances were real once, but today they depend on the gamelan orchestra to help cast their spell over an entranced audience. In the art of the great dancers, it is hard to tell where tradition stops and virtuosity begins. The dancers have all been trained from their early childhood. Each posture has its meaning, each grimace its significance. The dancers are much like priests of a special cult, passing on their skills and disciplines from one generation to another, down through the years. Down through the years, in art and in living, has passed the legacy of pride in a graceful, dignified way of life. way of life that was once sufficient. In a wild and incredibly beautiful corner of the world, in a land of volcanoes and other turbulent expressions of a rich and colorful nature, this was Java once, but it could not stay this way. It could not remain secluded in a world that was hungry for rubber and tea and tin, in a world that badly needed the quinine and manganese and oil. And so once again it changed with changing times. Batavia is no drowsy tropical village, but a modern capital and business metropolis, heart and nerve center of the vast territories united under the name of the Netherlands East Indies. For it is the Netherlands that has guided the Indonesians to their place in the modern world. In many parts of Java, the jungle and rice fields have given way to the great industrial plants that a modern nation needs for survival in a world balanced on economic scales. And the peoples of tradition have been taught new skills that would amaze and confound their craftsman ancestors. Skills that are prized and well paid by a machine-age world. Skills that can turn the raw commodities of the earth into useful articles. Skills that can win the rewards of weekly wages and improved living conditions. Only with these skills can man be master of the machine and make it work for the common good. Dutch craftsmen and Dutch engineers have brought the Indonesians up to date. But the people have not forsaken the land to work in the factories, for such migration may lead to economic slavery. By Netherlands law, not even Dutch settlers may buy the land that has been assigned to the people for growing their food, and most of the small rice sawas have been in the possession of one family or one community for many generations. Not all of the agricultural activities of the islands are on this small scale. Companies of many nations have been encouraged to establish large commercial operations on leased lands, and it is